What's up guys, Eric Prey, Focus Fishing Guide Service, Table Rock Fishing Intel. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Tuesday, November the 14th, basically halfway through the month. Been on the water, was on the water all weekend, did take yesterday off, was back out on the water today, so I've got some information for you. Biggest thing I can tell you is that things are changing on a daily basis. Some of the bites we talked about last week are still working, some of them not so much, but we'll get into that in a minute. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are at 912.35. Again, more than 4 feet below normal pool. They are readjusting the pool. We'll be at 915 by December 1st. So even though the lake's not going to come up, we're not going to be down as far, if that makes sense. As far as our water temperature, pretty much everywhere I've been, it's been 62 to 64. So we're just going to call it 63. You know, it's not cold. We've not had cold nights. It's not cooling off. We like to see that temperature in the upper 50s to get that late fall, early winter deep bite going, but it's just not there yet. But we are catching fish, doing a few different things, so we'll get into that. Of course, you guys know, being Table Rock Fishing Intel members, that we try to post as many daily reports, weekly reports, and of course this extended report. We got the Toyota results up last week, and we have got the winner of the Toyota tournament on a long form video tonight, long form interview tonight. We'll get that done and hopefully get that up probably tomorrow or Thursday. If you're coming down though, you're going to fish the lower end of the lake. That's where I was today. Really looking for that deep shad pattern that we had last week, or the shad over deep water pattern. And it seems like with these warmer nights, these fish, or the shad themselves, have moved. It's one thing I can tell you: if you're gonna fish deep right now, you've got to have shad. I can find fish out there without any shad around, but they are incredibly hard to get to bite. So I'm looking for shad. Our best spots today on the lower end were on main lake points, especially if we had a little bit of timber, but we could catch them without timber. Anywhere from 45 to 65 foot deep. There had to be a few shad around, even if it was a small school of shad, but close to a channel swing. And that couldn't be a point that goes way out into the lake. Had to be at the end of a channel swing and one of those type of points. We caught several fish doing that with a drop shot, shad-shaped cut-tail and UV drop shot worm. Had a couple on a Damiki, had a couple on a jigging wrap. Didn't really get bit real well on a spoon. Other bite that's working down here right now is a football jig, Pewee HD football jig, or the heavy cover football jig. Most of those fish on the lower end are coming anywhere from 18 to 30 feet deep. Gravel and rock mixed points, mostly on the main lake, some back in the creeks, but mostly on the main lake. And where you've got that bigger rock is really where those fish are coming from. And a lot of those fish have been smallmouth, but there's been some quality smallmouth caught as well. Other than that, you know, there's a crankbait bite if you've got wind and cloud cover down here by the dam, especially if you go up into Long Creek. Decent crankbait bite up there, rock crawler and wigglewort. Hit those channel swing banks, especially the ends of those channel swings where the bluff rock or the heavy rock changes and gets into that gravel. You get a little wind, you get a little cloud cover. That bite's working pretty well. Go in the mid-lake area, same bites are working in the mid-lake. There is a decent deep bite. When I was up there over the weekend, we did have that deep, or shad over deep water bite going in the main river channel. I have not been up there since. I'm gonna probably guess that bite's probably going way up there as well. But that bite's a little interesting, just so you know. We're just looking for schools of shad over deep water with fish feeding on them. The shad are only down 10 to 15 foot deep. Throw a swim bait into those shad, work it back, kind of hop it through those shad. You can catch a few fish doing that over the weekend. I don't know that that bite's still happening. I would guess that we're probably doing the same thing in the mid-lake that we're doing down by the dam, where these fish have started, the shad have moved, so these fish have moved, and they're going to be on points with wood, close to deep water on the main lake, drop shotting anywhere from 40 to 70 feet deep. And you just, you know, it's a slow bite, but you can certainly catch some fish doing that. The jig bite has been strong in the mid-lake as well. Pewee HD or the heavy cover football jig, either one. Again, gravel and rock mix. You've got a little bit more color up there, so you can catch some a little bit shallower, 15 to 25. If you get clouds or you get wind, they'll be even shallower than that. And then the crankbait bite has been very strong up there as well. A lot of fish on a crankbait when you've got a cloudy, windy day with a rock crawler or a wigglewort. Really not seeing that many on a spinnerbait or chatterbait in the mid-lake area, especially the way they're relating to shad. I would expect to see some fish on a chatterbait or a spinnerbait up around wood cover, but really have not seen that this fall. Even on a windy day, it seems like a crankbait is still better than a spinnerbait or a chatterbait in the mid-lake area. We'll go up the James. The James has got some different bites going on. You certainly want to have a crankbait tied on if you're going to go up the James. Rock crawler, wiggle wart, whatever you prefer. Hit those channel swing banks. Hit those gravel and rock mix banks. Keep the boat up shallow, parallel the bank. Have been catching a few doing that. Catching a few on a jig up there as well. You can catch them on a football jig if you're so inclined. Anywhere from about 15 out to about 25 on the football jig. But we've been catching them around some of the wood cover, especially on the bluffs and the little bluff pockets and bluff cuts around the wood on a Pee-wee HD spider jig or a regular spider jig. So that's a good bite that's going on up there as well. We have, the only place I've really seen a lot of fish or caught a significant number of fish on a spinnerbait or a chatterbait has been on further up the James, where you get a little bit more watercolor. Most of them on the ends of those main lake channel swing or bluff banks where you've got some wood and you got to slow roll it. Now, I haven't been up there when it's been really windy, but it was cloudy last week when I was up there, and we were able to throw either the spinnerbait or the chatterbait around that wood on the end of those points and pick off a few fish. It's not the type of deal where you're going to load the boat, but you can catch a few fish and some better quality fish by doing that on the ends of those channel swings right now. Go up the White River. Spent the whole weekend up the White River, and most of the fish we caught were out deep. Most of them on a drop shot, shad shape, cut tail, UV drop shot worm. Most of them were on gravel and rock mix points, close to deep water, with a little bit of wood on them. If you've got a sharp drop on the end of a point and it's like 50, 60 foot deep out there and it's got a couple of trees or even some brush on it out there, that's where we were catching a lot of our fish. Now, we did have that deep shad pattern or shad over deep water pattern going over the weekend up there as well. But to be honest with you, I didn't have a lot of clients who could do that, so we didn't really do that a lot. But I did in between trips on Friday catch several fish targeting the shad that were up in the water column, up around 10 or 15 foot deep, over 100, 150 foot of water with a swim bait. But again, I didn't get to do that much over the weekend. I did it for about 30 minutes and caught a few fish doing that. Crankbait bite up there has been strong as well, especially when you get from shell knob on up. Channel swings, rock crawler, wiggle wart, channel swing banks with wind on them. Catching a few on a rock crawler, catching a few on a spinnerbait or chatterbait, especially up the Kings where the water's got more color. But you've got to have wind. You've got to have, you don't have to have cloud cover. You absolutely have to have wind, it seems. Wind and cloud cover makes a big difference on that bite. You can certainly catch quite a few fish doing that. Guys, we are halfway through November and we're still waiting on our deep bite, our winter deep bite. I've been saying we're 2 weeks behind. I'm going to say we're 3 weeks behind at this point. It really feels like we're 3 weeks behind where we should be and where these fish should be right now. But hopefully, water is slowly dropping. Temperature wise, we get down around 60 degrees, we'll start to see these fish really group up, see the shad group up, see the fish group up, and we'll have that good deep bite. Best way to know, best way to stay on top of it, of course, use your Table Rock Fishing Intel Pro membership to get those daily reports, weekly reports, that sort of thing, so you know before you go where you're going to find the fish, where you're going to find the bulk of the fish and have your best chance of catching some fish. But if you guys are coming down, that, like I said, that deep bite's probably a couple weeks away. If you've always wanted to learn that, you know, it may be here as soon as Thanksgiving, but if you really want to learn that deep bite and how to catch those fish out deep, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com. Either way, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, again, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for being Table Rock Fishing Intel Pro members. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.